Welcome to GM Joel's Chess Week Recap on ICC. I'm Grandmaster Joel Benjamin. Happy New Year, everyone. This week we will visit two of the traditional holiday chess tournaments. But first, let's wrap up the World Blitz Championship, which ended late last week. Sergey Karjakin tied Magnus Carlsen for first and took the title on tiebreak. Here's how he did it, by defeating the ever-creative Badur Jobava. So let's check it out. Jobava does something very strange already on move 3. This is where everyone plays d6, kicks back the knight and takes the pawn. He plays d5. Now, there's I found 51 examples of this on the database, but mostly played by players below 2,000, like a lot of very weak players. But Jobava is by far the strongest player to go for it. So after ed5, queen d5, d4 is a principled move. Queen e2 is also played by a grandmaster successfully. And in this kind of key position, well, Jobava actually ventured this opening early in the tournament. I guess it's a good opening for Blitz. He played it against Benjamin Bach. It's all about the Benjamins. And that game went knight takes c6, queen takes, queen e2, bishop e6, queen b5. So Bach feels, okay, I take an extra pawn into the ending, c6, and then the bishop retreated. I'll just give you a couple more moves. Castles, c3, bishop d6, castles, rook hg8. So white has a very clear, solid extra pawn, but black has very good development. White obviously a few moves behind development, so black has some compensation. And actually, Jobava, the game went fairly well for Jobava until it got worse, and then he ended up having to draw rook against rook and bishop. It was quite a long game in the end. But anyway, back to Sergey, and he makes a no-nonsense decision. He says, okay, I'm just going to give back the pawn. And I don't know if he saw the other game. It's hard to tell. So I'm just going to give back the pawn and simplify and just play this position where black has ugly pawns. And that's what happens. But black has ugly pawns, but he does have freedom for his pieces. And Jobava actually does pretty well with this for a while. Perhaps Karjakin could have played some better moves. But okay, nice resource there. And it looks at first like Jobava's pieces are in trouble, but Karjakin is not able to make that much of it. Now, the king side gets weakened. Of course, the queen side pawns are very weak. f5 trying to force a capture. King f1 to prevent the rook from coming in. Of course, now we're really in that blitz finish. a6 was not the best move. Rook c8, pinning. Turns out to be the probably equalizer. But even after a6, rook d1, another chance for Jobava. Instead of knight b6, he could have played rook c8. And if rook takes f5, probably not even the best move. Rook c2, black is simplifying and probably making a draw. You can imagine playing this position with no time on your clock. b3 to keep the knight out, and now Karjakin just maintains huge positional advantage and eventually starts cashing in. And then one little defensive move to prevent the rook from getting in, and then Jobava blunders, missing this in-between move, rook check, and then he takes the rook. And because it's blitz, he keeps playing, but it's very simple. Karjakin does not make any mistakes. And finally, Jobava gives up hopeless position. So the opening experiment confused Karjakin slightly, but he decided to be very practical, just keep it simple, and he ended up winning the scramble and tying for first and getting the title. All right, so we move on now to the Rilton Cup. Krishnan Sasakiran,